Volt is known for many things. He is the meta warframe for Eidolon hunts, the meta warframe for Profit Taker, the go-to frame for pretty much anything that you want to do without thinking about it. He's just that warframe, and one of the best starter warframes that you could ever pick. I'm not saying this because I have an unhealthy obsession with Volt, it's just because it's the truth, the fact. Trust me, I know. What's good, folks? It's KnightmareFrame here with a new Warframe video, coming at you with a Volt melee build video. Anyway, this particular Volt build, it's all about melee. You take out your melee and you just go out there and swing at enemies till they friggin' die. Oh my god, finally a Volt video. It's been so long. I mean, I did release this video recently on my melee influence and dual Ichor's build synergy. And for those coming in thinking, there's no need to watch that video, it has been nerfed. Shut up. People like that clearly don't understand anything. For people who didn't read the patch notes, didn't understand literally a sentence, and who do not know the interaction altogether. So before typing stupid comments, read a sentence. With the recent update, the patch notes literally stated, the clouds that you produce from dual Ichors cannot reproduce melee influence. That's it. Melee influence can reproduce clouds, but clouds cannot reproduce melee influence. For those who do not understand, the dual Ichors and melee influence used to spawn camp enemies, meaning it was a pseudo AFK loadout with melees, which hasn't been done in such a long time. So, you remember DE's thing about automating things and being AFK? So that's pretty much it. For those who don't understand, clouds, killing, death, cascading. Oh my god, it's still there. People dying on this other side of the planet? Yes! Because all that's changed is that clouds cannot reproduce melee influence. But as you can see, you still have a cascading. You just have to now wonk. Oh no. Pressing W. Bummer. Anyway, last week, it is what it is. But seriously, if you do actually have trouble reading, ask for help. It's way better than typing dumb comments. But then I asked myself, how did he type that dumb comments? But then I realized, maybe voice to text, probably. That's exactly what happened. Anyway, back to the Volt build, because clearly that's what this video is all about. The synergy with Volt is very simple here. You basically take Volt, slap on a melee, and boom, you do work. However, we're not using any melee, we're using a specific melee. And this video was actually inspired by the homie Asian Invasion's video. He recently released an Ivara with Innodem. Then I thought, well, what if I don't want to be invisible, but I want to swing? And here we are. But folks, there's something you have to prepare for, because I use Nourish. Again, it doesn't take many brain cells to put Nourish on a Warframe, but here we are. Look at that, an innovative build. So Nourish, as you know, gives you the viral elemental damage multiplier on your weapons. It's essentially an elemental mod slapped onto your weapons. So now you don't have to mod for viral. It gives you the energy multiplier, which is one of the biggest things about Nourish. It also has the viral poo-poo, but we don't really care about that. We just care about the elemental damage and the energy multiplier on this loadout, because whapam, we are negative efficiency on this loadout. Another thing that Volt has, he has speed. Speed makes you move faster. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you fire rate. However, it gives you melee attack speed, which is actually not even written on the ability card. It talks about the reload speed and the movement speed buff, but it doesn't talk about the attack speed that is given to melees. And you also get the electric shield, which is not even explained properly. DE, why? Put a shield, protects you from incoming damage. The shots that you deal through the shield will proc electric, independent of your modded elements, which is really good. It's like Toxic Lash, but not like Toxic Lash. And also gives you a 2x critical damage multiplier, final critical damage multiplier. And then finally you have Shock. Why would you ever use Shock? Why would you replace his fourth ability and keep Shock? Well, because we are using the augment Shock Trooper. Shock Trooper, similar to Nourish, is an elemental damage multiplier slapped onto your weapons. This elemental damage multiplier will take priority over any singular modded element on your weapon or an innate element. Pretty good. However, if you have 2 elements already modded onto your weapons, it applies after. So for example, if you have Viral coming from Nourish, use Shock Trooper, now you have Viral and Electric. But what if you have other elements modded onto your weapon? Well, now you have those elements plus Viral plus Electric. And since this is a melee influence loadout, we need the Electric elemental damage because that allows us to trigger melee influence. And the good thing about it is that since we have Electric coming from an augment, it saves us a mod slot on the weapon itself. And the weapon in question is the Innodem. This is your vanilla incarnate weapon, meaning it is not an adapter, it is an actual incarnate weapon that you can purchase from Cavallero. Let's go over the evolutions real quick so you can understand how we're modding for this weapon and why we're using this weapon. Okay, the first evolution. Reach 5 times combo and then perform a heavy attack to then gain the incarnate form. The incarnate form grants you 3 meters of range. This is pretty much primed reach. Does that mean, oh, I don't need to mod for prime reach? No, mod for prime reach as well. You're using a dagger. Daggers have that juicy 0.9 follow through, which is a massive boon to your damage, meaning your swings are going to hit way better, and the damage distribution is going to be a lot higher than anything with under 0.9 follow through. Range is super important, but then another thing is that we get 40% attack speed. Looking at the dagger itself with 0.9, that's disgusting. Low attack speed is stupid because attack speed is actually a tactical advantage. Swing faster, build combo faster, kill enemies faster, apply status effects faster. Huge! Not to mention, bam! Tenokai's a thing. So yes, attack speed is a massive tactical advantage, but the incarnate form also gives you a unique approach to your melee strikes. Normally, when you swing, right, you deal damage like a regular dagger, but now that we got incarnate, we're able to perform aerial strikes. These aerial strikes are similar to Exodia Contagion. You know, when you jump, aim glide, and then melee, you release a contagion strike, but now you throw out projectiles, and these projectiles deal 360 radiation damage. Not that much, but it's something. They have infinite body punch through, so similar to the Nataruk, but they don't benefit from headshot damage multipliers. Boo-hoo. However, these projectiles are weaker than your normal physical melee strikes. They don't benefit from stance multipliers and are horrible at triggering other status effects reliably. However, with melee influence, these projectiles are actually somewhat useful, but we're not going to be using them all the time. But they will benefit us in certain situations. Picking up our shields, we can shoot our projectiles to these shields, and they do get the bonus, and without activating Shock Trooper, we're able to trigger melee influence. And notice, we're armor stripping with these projectiles. And we're spreading status effects a lot more reliably, thanks to melee influence. Evolution 2 gives you more attack speed, because why not? It is a tactical advantage. Attack speed on activation, attack speed with evolution, and attack speed from speed. And another thing about attack speed is that having a lot of attack speed allows you to perform several aerial attacks while midair before you even land. And that means we can actually not have to mod for attack speed on our melee weapon. We just saved ourselves 2 mod slots thanks to Shock Trooper and the attack speed bonuses. The third evolution is increase the range of your aerial melee strikes. The aerial melee strikes reach up to 21 meters, so this is a 0.5 meter increase to that 21 meters, which is okay. Otherwise, nothing else here is useful. Now you may say, but we can gain combo for every slide. This is 5 combo for 10 meters. So you're telling me you want to do this while you can have a wider swing, hit 5 enemies, and build way more combo than you just did with that slide. Think, Mark! The other one is finisher damage. We're not dealing with finishers. It's a waste of time. We don't need this. Evolution 4 on airborne melee kill, meaning you don't necessarily have to use your aerial attacks. As long as you're airborne and you get melee kills, you get bonus melee damage, and it stacks up to 3 times. So 50 times 3, boom! And the other one here is reach 3 times combo, so you can activate your Incarnate. So you don't have to go to 5, but 3. It's really nice in Star Chart, but then I noticed I didn't really need this in Steel Path, because the enemy density is higher, and you can get some units which are a bit tanky. You hit them a couple of times, you already built up 5 times combo and more. So that's why I found this to not be as useful in Steel Path, but rather get free damage. And finally, collecting ammo grants 5 melee combo counter, which is a lot more useful than this. This is if you're priming. Otherwise, there's literally nothing else for you to take, because all of these require you to do finishers, and you're not doing any finishers. And this gives you heavy attack efficiency, but we're using Tennokai. So we don't need to worry about heavy attack efficiency because Tennokai doesn't consume your combo. So these are the evolutions that I picked for this weapon. Now you already know we got Nourish, we got Shock Trooper, so we have Viral Electricity on our weapons. What would we actually mod our daggers with? Before I go to the dagger build, let's have a look at our utility weapon that benefits daggers, so that you can understand why are we modding the daggers like so. Going over to my Argonac, damage from daggers reduce armor by 6. This is pretty huge. It removes base armor from any source of damage coming from your dagger. Did you hear me? Any source of damage coming from your dagger. So yes, if you produce a status effect that takes over time, that counts as damage coming from your dagger.
Getting the feeling of coming at home, I'm getting the feeling of coming backstage when I pump up, so I'm coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific, right?
So if it ticks, that's 6 minus 6 every tick. What if you produce a massive AoE cloud that takes over in damage? All of that will strip enemy armor. But the other important thing is there is Amalgam Serration. This is movement speed. You want that speed boost so you can move even faster. And finally, I have Primary Dexterity. This is a combo duration boost to my melee. I don't necessarily have to use this weapon. It's just there to exist. So now that you know what we're using our daggers with, let's have a look at the dagger build. For my stance, I'm using Pointed Wind. This is an amazing stance. It gives you some forward movement and has really good damage multipliers. Discipline's Merit is only here so I can trigger my Tennokai a lot earlier, so that I can activate Dispatch Overdrive. Dispatch Overdrive gives me 60% movement speed. That's 60% base movement speed, meaning it affects your walking speed and sprint speed. So it's pretty huge. And notice we're not modding for any crits, because you don't need to crit with this loadout. Melee Influence, your Arcane, very important for this loadout. But we don't have electricity because it's coming from Shock Trooper. And we also have Virals, so Viral is already priming for us. And here I have Gas. Gas is an AoE status effect that deals damage over time, and each enemy hit with Gas produces their own gas clouds. So with Melee Influence triggering on enemies, applying the status effect, all those enemies produce gas clouds. So this is like quadratic scaling build, because at the same time we're priming enemies, we're armor stripping them, and we're dealing with AoE damage over time, which is a huge damage increase. Our base damage is coming from Condition Overload. Since we're already priming enemies with our Melee Influence, Gas, Viral, Electric, Condition Overload gets a damage boost because this gives us base damage on our weapons with each unique status effect affecting the targets. Our Faction Damage mod, which helps us deal 2 times more damage with damage over time against the faction we're fighting against. Our range here, that's 0.9 follow through on a dagger, plus the range increase from the evolution, plus the range increases here. Oh, well, our swings are going to be massive. So big. You thought you had a big one? No, this dagger has a big one. I was using this on Varuna earlier. That's why I removed Weeping Wounds. However, use Weeping Wounds. You don't need Organ Shatter, you don't need crits, as I said. That's the build. Weeping Wounds gives us a bonus status chance when we build up our combo. That's a 5.4 times status chance increase. So without further ado, let's go take a look at how this build works in Steel Path. Alright, here we are in Steel Path. We're gonna have our dagger in the main hand. We don't care about our guns. We don't need our guns. This is a melee loadout. And I'm using everyone's favorite Madurai Focus School. Perform 2 Void Slings, you get Sling Strength, which is a nice snapshot to your other buffs that we're going to be activating. And we also get some casting speed. Activate Shock Trooper, Shield, pick up our shields, and press 2. Notice how we already built up our Tennokai fairly quickly? We have 7 times combo, we still didn't activate our Incarnate, but boom. That Tennokai gives us a free heavy attack. Look at that damage spread. And this is with our aerial projectiles. Let's perform a couple of aerial projectiles, get free damage, and swing away. Look how brain dead this build is. And activate your Tennokai whenever you get the chance, because it's a nice slash proc. Because daggers force proc slash. And you get Dispatch Overdrive. Another movement speed increase. Well, let me try and find a better tile set, to be honest. Let's do our aerial attacks right now. Look at that range. Look how we're killing all these enemies. Before I take a look at the build, I have multiple volts. Okay, so don't worry about it when you notice, oh, why does this polarity not multiple volts? And of course, multiple fashion. This one doesn't need Archon shards, because I showed you with a volt that had Archon shards. You don't need those Archon shards, nor do you need any type of Archon shards. But if you wanted to, you can. Put whatever you want, strength shards, duration shards, up to you. But this particular volt doesn't need it. So let's have a look at the build. In the aura, it also doesn't matter. You can run whatever aura you want. You want to put enemy radar, you want to put growing power, you can. You want to put, I don't know, steel charge for even more capacity. It doesn't matter. Put whatever you want. The most important thing you want here is strength and duration. That's it. As you can see, I do have a double umbral setup, adaptation, blessing, reaper, so it's health tanky. It's all good. But the most important thing here is prime sure-footed. Use a time machine. If you don't have it, seriously get it. Spending less time on your butt is a huge DPS increase. Shock Trooper to give us the electric elemental damage multiplier on all of our weapons. And of course, Nourish, Viral Electric, you get the whole thing. Strength is coming from Augur Secrets, Blind Rage, and the double Umbral mods together. Efficiency is not an issue because, boom, we got the energy multiplier from Nourish. Range isn't an issue because you don't need range here. It's a melee build. All you want to have is your buff of time pretty high. That's about it. So yeah, folks, this has been it for me. I do have enjoyed this video, and if you did, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, a peace. Yes, I have that memorized. I've done it a lot.